are all the fabrics and tools that you're going to need for this next stage of your doll making process. You'll need your doll jersey or doll skin, whatever you want to call it. Now I've chosen Sun-Kissed. Sun-Kissed is our most popular colour of skin tone, but we do 5 other shades, so we've got 6 in all. You're going to need your air erasable marker pen or your vanishing fine line fabric marker. This is used to outline and trace all the pattern pieces onto the doll jersey. You'll need a stretch needle to work in your machine when sewing the doll jersey. You will find that if you use the normal standard machine needle, it possibly will skip stitches. So I always advise a stretch machine needle for working with the doll jersey. You'll need your Gutermann sewing thread in a matching colour to your skin tone. You'll need a tacking thread, which is a complete contrast to your skin tone colour. And finally, you're going to need a dotting tool. Now we've got these in the little packs of 5, and they've got little balls on the end, and these are used for pushing through the fabric and easing out the ridges on the fabric, on your fabric seams. Okay, so let's crack on. So here we go. I've sewn my 2 pieces of head together. So I'm going to turn it the right way round. And then I will use my dotting tool just to come up to the seams and just use my finger and thumb just to ease that seam out. And that takes away that little ridge, that little indent. And you need to do this with all your body components. It just gives a nicer, sharper seam. So just coming to the bottom now of the second side. Okay, so now we're going to fit the head onto the head. And you ease it onto the neck first, the lower section. Pull that up. A bit like pulling on a pair of tight socks or tights. And then you need to make sure that you've got it quite high up into the neck area there first, before you start pulling it up over the head. So when you're up quite close to the top there, then you can start pulling it up over the head. So do a bit of the back first, bring it over the front. And just keep pulling to get it lifted up nice and high. Holding on to the neck all the time and just stretch it up. Put your fingers down inside it, pinch it on, hold on to it and stretch it up. Fingers down inside, hold on to it and stretch it up. Go careful of your little nose there. Now you want to make sure that the smaller portion of the head has got those 2 seams in there. So you need to make sure that they're sitting symmetrically. So you can feel where your little side strings are. So there, and then you can see the distance for where the seam is. So check that out that side. And check that out that side, and if it's too far over, you just need to put your hand in and twist the fabric round so that you've got your side back seam there symmetrically placed on your head. So we're just going to pull up a little bit more, pull up. So need to make sure that it's going to close at the top. So check the top, have you got enough for bringing over at the back and creating that little sewn V top. Okay, that's good enough. I've got plenty up the top there for closing over. And then just smooth that neck edge down. It's very forgiving, this fabric. It sort of goes where you want it to. You can smooth it out. If you get any creases, sort of lines, you can just sort of smooth it out with your fingers. Okay, yeah, so I'm where I want it to be with enough closure at the top and enough down there in the neck. So next thing we're going to do is take some of your linen tie-in thread and just tie this around the neck, going from the back round to the front, crossing it over and taking it to the back and tying off in a knot. Hasn't got to be tight, it's just there. Then take your tails and just sink them into the head. So from that knot there, just go in where that knot is, just under it, and just pull that tail right the way through. Snip that one off. Same for the other one. Sink that in and pull it through. Then next stage is, that's just keeping that neck in place and tight. That string's going to stay there, you won't see that because the neck of the body is going to go higher than that. Right, then the next stage is to take your sorrel thread in your skin colour, and we're just going to sew around the lower edge of that neck just to keep it in place and stop it from rolling back up again when we put the body on. And all I'm doing here is, well, just cast on 3 little stitches, and then I'm just doing a running stitch all the way around, all the way along the edge of that neck. Okay, so I've sewn all the way around the bottom of there. So that's not going to go anywhere, that's not going to flick up when we put the body on. I'm going to leave the top open. I sew the top closed after I've put the body on. Okay, so I've sewn my body together and I've pinked the edges, and on that top neck section at the front I've just done 6 little snips. That just helps to ease with when you are tacking it. It helps to ease the fabric around. I've also done a little snip on the front body just at the bottom edge there, and another little snip just there. Okay, so my next job is to turn it right side out, and then I'm going to ease all my seams out with my dotting tool, and then I'm also going to tack along the bottom edges. And that's the tacking done. So I've tacked the lower edge of the body and the top edge, and you can see where those little cuts are that I did in that front neck section, how they've just sort of splayed out, and they're now sitting nice and flat. Okay, so turn it back the right way, and then this is now going to be eased on over the neck. Make sure that you've got the front of the head to the front of the body. Don't do what I did on my Larry doll. I sewed it the wrong way around and only realised once I sewed the whole thing on, I had to unpick it and re-put it on. So yeah, make sure you've got your front of your head and your front of the body. The front is the shorter one. And then just ease that on, up and through. Again, a little bit at a time. It depends on how thick your neck is as to how easy this is going to be. So just ease it up a little bit at a time. bring it up to the string, up and over the string. And then what you want to do is you want to make sure that your shoulders are lying symmetrical with the face. So again, you can feel those little cross sections there where your string's crossed, and they should be in alignment with your shoulder. And then the other thing is, if you've got these side seams in, correctly, symmetrically placed, you can gauge it by that as well. So it's just slightly over there, that side seam, and the same that side. So yeah, I'm happy with that. So once you're happy with the placing, then all you need to do is put in all your pins completely around that neck edge. Don't worry about this little crinkle here, because after we've sewn the neck on, we are then going to put our hands back through our head and we're going to pull on that. Can you see it's just disappeared? Okay, so you don't worry about these crinkles. I mean, it needs to be fairly smooth, but you don't need to worry if you have got a bit of a crinkly fold there as you're sewing on your body to your head. Okay, so all pinned in and all ready for me to sew. Okay, so I've got my needle threaded with my sole thread which matches my skin tone. So to fasten on, just fasten on somewhere in the head. Just 3 little stitches. And then bring your needle down through the head to that neck edge. Okay, now around this neck edge we're going to be doing a series of mattress stitches. So to do a mattress stitch, so my thread is coming out of my body, so I now need to go up parallel, so straight on up into my head and take a very small stitch. Now my thread is coming out of my head, so I need to come down parallel and take a small stitch into the body. Now my thread is coming out of the body, so I need to take a small stitch parallel into the head. And these are really tiny little stitches. So just move your pins out as you go. So my thread is coming out of my head, so it needs to come down parallel into the body. So out of the body, parallel up into the head. Out of the head, parallel down into the body. And you're just doing this, working all the way around that neck edge. Now you're only going through the skin on this first round, but then we're going to sew a second round, and when we do the second round that's going to go a lot deeper and it's going to pick up the underlying components like the gauze. So the first row of mattress stitches is just basically going through the doll jersey. And then what you end up with your mattress stitch is you end up with like a wibbly wobbly wavy line, and that's the look that you need to create. Okay, so I've sewn all the way around my first row of mattress stitch, I fastened off and rethreaded some more thread on. So this time I'm going round again, but I'm going deeper, and it's more of a, I suppose you would call it more of a slip stitch rather than a mattress stitch, but I just need to get right in there, and it's a good centimetre. It's not those tiny weeny little stitches I did last time. It's a good centimetre away. So in, push down, pick up, come out. So in, push down, pick up, and out. In, push down, pick up, great big lump underneath there, and out. Now, depending on how much use is going to be had with your doll, you could do this a couple of times just to ensure that that head is really firmly sewn on to the body. So I'm back to where I started my second round. So I'm just going to now fasten off that thread. So into the head at the back there to fasten off. And I'll just do my 3 little stitches and sink the tail. So there is your head firmly sewn on with 2 rounds, and that's not going anywhere. Okay, so now I'm going to remove my tack-in stitches. So just give the thread a little snip, and then just use my dotting tool just to pull that through. Stubborn bit there, give that a pull. Okay, so thread gone. Okay, so now we want to get rid of some of these small little puckery bits here. So just put your fingers in right down to the bottom there and give it a pull up, pulling down on the neck as you go, pulling up on the head fabric, get over to the top and pop in a pin. Pop in a couple of pins. Then the same the other side, hands in, pull up, a couple of pins. Do the same for the back. And don't pull on the front because you don't want to pull on the nose or anything like that. So it's just a very gentle pull up there. Okay, so you can see how that smoothed that little puckery area out there. Now it's time to sew the top together. So we need to bring the back forward and the front backward. Okay, so that's the back comes forward and the front goes backward. Pop in a pin and another one there and another one there. So we have our 3 pins in. So that's that straight edge there that we're going to sew first. And this is just going to be a ordinary slip stitch. So 3 little stitches just to fasten on. and then just work a slip stitch through there. Okay, so I've come to the end of that. So that's that front section sewn in. And then onto the sides. So with the sides, where you've pulled that up, you should have those pins still nicely placed there, keeping that nice and smooth there. Let's go this side because it's where my needle is. Okay, so just take that little triangle, little cornery bit. Let's take that pin out, don't want that there. And then you just, oh, let me just get that under there a bit. So there's that, you've got a bit of a rux in there. So with that little triangle, you just pull it up nice and tight, as high as it'll go. And we'll pop a pin in there. Just smooth out that little edge and that little edge there. So this is the next bit here, this line down here, where we're going to do our little slip stitch. I'm going to run out of thread, so I'll need to rethread my needle, but I'm sure it'll get me down the bottom there. So that's that side sewn, and then just repeat for this other little triangle. So that's going under there, that's coming through there. Give it a pull, take out that tension over the top and pop in a pin, and now I'm ready to sew along there and along there. So there she is, so head all sewn along the top. Next stage is we're going to stuff the body and attach the legs. That's in the next video tutorial. But for the moment, let's just pop a little eye each side there, just so we can have a little idea of what she's going to look like. Yeah, so there she is. So she's starting to come to life. And then finally, once you've sewn your neck to your head, I would recommend just taking your elastic band and just placing it over the head where the eyeline is. That's just going to help to keep the fabric within that ridge. And if you leave it in there for leave the elastic band on there for at least 24 hours, that will help to get the indentation of the eyeline. So thank you for watching this video. Look forward to seeing you on the next one. We're going to be stuffing the body and attaching the legs. So I'll see you all later. Bye.